Take this in. The year is 2019 and the Tennessee Titans are highly successful. Tennessee has reached the American Football Conference Championship for the first time since 1999. The team has already been through a lot of trials and tribulations, especially with them moving away from their previous home of Houston. Yes, the Tennessee Titans were originally the former team of the Houston Oilers. The Oilers began as an idea from Bud Adams, who founded the team after multiple refusals to put a National Football League team in Houston. Instead of the NFL, Adams set up the Houston Oilers in the American Football League. In an impressive span starting in 1960, the Oilers won 2 AFL titles within 3 years of being in the championship game. Houston would freeze up after 1962, not being prolific in the AFL until their merger with the NFL. And by that, I mean a decent 10-win, 4-loss season in 1975. Somehow that didn't get them to the playoffs, so they had to retool. One of the names I mentioned in the Cleveland Browns video, Robert Brazile, got Defensive Rookie of the Year that season for the Oilers. A few years would roll by, and the drafting of one Earl Campbell lit a flame under the team. Campbell would win Offensive Rookie of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year in 1978, followed by a rare Most Valuable Player and another Offensive Player of the Year in 1979. Campbell would also win Offensive Player of the Year in 1980, completing a hat trick of the award. Campbell would lead the Oilers into the playoffs each of these 3 seasons, and Houston would reach the AFC Championship in back-to-back seasons. Unfortunately, they would lose both times to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The team would fumble and fall back into obscurity throughout most of the 1980s. In 1987, Houston finally got their team back in shape. Warren Moon was the main anchor for this new rendition of the team, his arm leading them into 7 straight playoff appearances. His arm wasn't enough, however, and the Oilers were not able to capitalize every year. The Oilers fell off a cliff by 1994, including Warren Moon leaving, creating a 2-14 season. That same season, they got a safe answer with Jeff Fisher as the new head coach. He had a method to his madness, keeping the team always at a consistent 50-50 split when it comes to wins and losses. The Oilers lucked into Eddie George in 1996, and he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Bud Adams was booed out of Houston by the fans, who wanted more change and a better team than what they had. With that, Bud decided to bid for a move from Houston, deciding on Nashville, Tennessee. The town of Houston was very toxic about the move and instantly begged the National Football League for a new team. Now that the Oilers were moving, they had to wait for a proper stadium to be built. The Oilers rebranded to put Tennessee in the front and would play in Memphis for the 1997 season. And they would swap to Vanderbilt Stadium in 1998. After a 2-season waiting period, the Tennessee Oilers renamed themselves to the Tennessee Titans. They also moved out of Vanderbilt Stadium and into the Adelphia Coliseum. The Titans had slowly built around Eddie George and Jeff Fisher, adding Bruce Matthews to the equation. Quarterback Steve McNair and tight end Frank Wycheck, along with defensive end Javon Curse and free safety Anthony Dorsett, made this team stacked with a 13-3 record. The Tennessee Titans went by the Buffalo Bills, Indianapolis Colts, and Jacksonville Jaguars to reach Super Bowl 34. Each game in this run was close, with wins by 6, then 3, and then the outlier blowout of the Jags by 19 points. Tennessee was then able to face the St. Louis Rams in the Super Bowl, with a chance of winning the team's first National Football League title. title. That was, well, not the case. Due to a last-second touchdown, the Titans would end up losing the Super Bowl. Jeff Fisher would lead the team back to the playoffs, but couldn't repeat the success. The Ravens trounced them in 2000, then a break in 2001. This would be followed by another playoff berth, losing to the Oakland Raiders in 2002. Another run with Steve McNair winning Most Valuable Player ended in a playoff loss to the New England Patriots in 2003. A couple offensive rookie of the years, and a couple more losing seasons, and a couple more playoff losses led to Jeff Fisher's firing in 2010. The team fell into a rough spot under new coaches Mike Munchak, Ken Whisenhunt, and the beginning of Mike Mularkey's time as head coach. In 2017, Mularkey's last year, the Titans reached the playoffs and made it to the divisional round before losing to New England again. Mularkey would get moved off for Mike Vrabel in 2018. Mularkey accidentally added good pieces to the Titans before he left, and didn't get much credit for it. The team managed to hang with quarterback Marcus Mariota, also drafting right tackle Jack Conklin, running back Derrick Henry, safety Kevin Byard, wide receiver Corey Davis, and tight end Jonnu Smith. Vrabel's first draft, in comparison, added linebacker Harold Landry and not much else. Mike Vrabel, like some other new coaches in that span, was a former player. Vrabel was a linebacker while he played for the New England Patriots, winning 3 Super Bowls there. Vrabel retired from the game in 2011 and would slowly gain notability as a defensive-minded assistant and coordinator. This stint with the Titans would be his first head coach position, and his energy was electric and blue-collar. The first season in 2018 reminded many of those Jeff Fisher seasons, ending up with 9 wins and 7 losses. Then it clicked. The Tennessee Titans became a legit contender in the American Football Conference, especially with the helpful drafting of defensive end Jeffrey Simmons, wide receiver A.J. Brown, and safety Amani Hooker. The Titans would also pull away Mariota from starting, trading for quarterback Ryan Tannehill. They would move off of Marcus Mariota by 2019. Running back Derrick Henry would unlock his full potential quickly, running for over 1,000 yards again for the second year in a row. A.J. Brown also came through with an impressive 1,000-yard season. Firing on all cylinders, the Tennessee Titans would wind up running into the former team of their coach. In what became Tom Brady's last playoff game in New England, the Titans beat the Patriots handily. They would dash the Baltimore Ravens' hopes in the next round, leading to another AFC Championship game for the Titans. It didn't work out, however, and the team would lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Titans looked into an impressive draft to fix their mistakes, but got a no-man's land of talent instead. The Titans would reach the playoffs again in 2020, but would lose to the Ravens in the first round. Derrick Henry made history as only the 8th running back to rush for 2,000 yards, and the second Titan to do so after Chris Johnson in 2007. The Tennessee Titans are the only team to have 2 players accomplish this feat, and Derrick managed to get 1,000 yards by week 10. The running back averaged 126 yards a game, with his play leading the league in touchdowns at 17. Henry also managed to get 114 receiving yards. 2020 would see more bad drafting and mismanagement, with Jack Conklin getting traded to Cleveland. Additionally, the team would lose Jonnu Smith to free agency, with him signing with the Patriots in 2021. The only positive in 2021 would be defensive tackle Denico Autry, adding himself to the Titans. The team from Tennessee officially fell apart in one fatal move. They traded A.J. Brown away for picks. The Titans would pick up wide receiver Treylon Burks, corner Roger McCreary, offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, tight end Chig Okonkwo, and quarterback Malik Willis in the 2022 draft. A.J. Brown's move off of the team began a surprising leak, with many more to come. Harold Landry, Ryan Tannehill, and offensive tackle Taylor Lewan would miss considerable playing time. Going 7-10, the team became very suspect. Linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair would join the team in the next season in 2023, and the team would draft running back Tyjae Spears to put a strange flame under Derrick Henry. Linebacker Arden Key would also stumble onto the team, and offensive tackle Peter Skoronski would be drafted on. Additionally, on top of it all, another quarterback in Will Levis was drafted onto the team. 2023 just couldn't work. The constant changes on the roster led to a 6-11 record. Due to the team's rot and sheer disrespect from the front office, Mike Vrabel ended up fired. It wasn't his fault at all that the team ended up this way. Ryan Tannehill would vanish from the league after 2023, and Derrick Henry swiftly followed suit by going to Baltimore. Kevin Byard would also leave in 2023. Tennessee traded for cornerback L'Jarius Sneed to set up 2024. They would also hire on Brian Callahan for the head coaching job. They drafted offensive tackle J.C. Latham and defensive tackle Tavondre Sweat, but Denico Autry and Azeez Al-Shaair both left for the Texans. Running back Tony Pollard was signed to fill in the hole Derrick Henry left. The team's decay became more obvious, with the Titans ending up with a 3-14 record. Harold Landry would end his stay in Tennessee by moving over to the Patriots in 2025. Petit Frere would also vanish from the league as a whole. The Titans kept trying to fill in the wide receiver hole in their roster after A.J. Brown left. DeAndre Hopkins and now Calvin Ridley have tried to get respect as a wide receiver 1. They kept trying to peer pressure Derrick Henry before he left, with Deonta Freeman trying hard for the RB1 job, and Adrian Peterson's old frame being signed in 2021 just to tempt him to leave. And finally, poor Ryan Tannehill had to compete with Marcus Mariota, Willis, and Will Levis within his span as the QB1. Instead of a defined trust with their talent, Tennessee just ruined a perfect trio. Even if Tannehill was streaky, at least he was sneaky accurate at times. Henry got beat up in 2021, but is a generational running back. Brown was young and highly talented, but the front office just couldn't see it. Recently, the Titans have put aside assets and time into a new stadium in Nashville, plopped right next to the newly renamed Nissan Stadium. 2025 has been a tumultuous season for the former Houston Oilers, with the team having a 1-7 record at the time of writing. Mrs. Adams-Strunk's patience with Brian Callahan blew up, and he was fired. She also canned many general managers in the 2020s. The Titans drafted quarterback Cam Ward after Will Levis damaged their 2024 season. Cam Ward has been struggling heavily along with Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard. Calvin Ridley also has struggled along with Chig Okonkwo. The team has been in a rough spot ever since A.J. Brown left, and it's obvious. Seeing Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, along with Mike Vrabel, being very impressive, probably makes Tennessee worried. But it's okay, because they're in the middle of a rebuild, and they need more time to work out the kinks. Any way you look at it, the Titans will look back on their extensive history with amazement and a positive impression.